Hey guys, Charles Powers from the GameFanatics.com here, and we are heavily anticipating Far Cry 5's release. I got a chance to sit down again with the game's creative director, Dan Hay. In my first interview with Dan, we got to talk a little bit about the overall narrative and story and a little bit of the gameplay, so be sure to check that out. In this sit down with Dan, we talk about character customization, arcade mode, some of the DLC, and we dive a little deeper into the game's narrative. Hope you enjoy. What's up, guys? Charles Powers, thegamefanatics.com here, coming to you from a barn with my good friend, Dan Hay, creative director behind Far Cry 5. How's it going, Dan?
Good, man. I'm glad you guys are here.
Yes. Okay, so a lot has happened since the last time we spoke and the last time we kind of showed our viewers what you had going on. Can you kind of catch us up to speed?
Well, I think that since the last times you guys came here and you saw John's region, and you got a sense of what it was like. This time we're letting you play the entire intro of the game, and we're letting you see what it's like to fly in. You feel the tension, you know, you meet the father, and not to spoil anything, but I mean, you know the tension is there. You meet some of the characters in the world, and then we want to let you go up to a brand new region, which is Jacob's. And it's, you know, you've got a whole host of different characters that are up there, new fangs for hire, new guns for hire. So I think it's really showing how the game is different depending on which region you go to, and it's all about choice. Play it, go north, play it, go south, play it, and go to a region we haven't even talked about yet, and the game's completely different.
Okay, so I gotta talk about that intro sequence. No spoilers, but that was one of the most intense scenes in a game I have played. I think that the decision you guys made, which I'll kind of talk about later in the interview, but the decision to like remove the mini map and things like that really fully immerses you in a scene where you're kind of like running around wondering where to go. Yeah. That's awesome. And then leading up to that, the character customization, I thought that was awesome. You know, for the first time we get to customize our character. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what sort of narrative things kind of lead and spawn off of that?
Well, for me, you know, you think about the fact that, you know, we're making a first-person game and we want to make it so that it feels like it's you that's playing, right? And I always hate it when I'm playing a game and I'm thinking, holy shit, and the character goes, oh gosh, right? And it's like, that's not how I feel. I want to be able to sit in my living room and play the game and be able to swear. I want to be able to make it feel like it's really me if that's how I choose to play. So by making it so that you can make your own character, we think that it makes the barrier to entry to you playing the game and feeling like it's you that much less. And then, you know, obviously that creates narrative challenges and how people respond because they don't exactly know what it was that you picked and whatnot. But I think it's really, really cool to be able to make it so that you are the author of your own story. And then the game can start to respond to the things that you do, and it's powerful.
Okay, so speaking of story, I wanted to ask a question that's a little bigger than the game. So, you know, we watched the story trailer, and there were comments about how Project Eden's Gate just, you know, they've been around, and people were just kind of complacent, and all of a sudden now they're this gigantic cult that no one can really get rid of. I thought that was a very interesting point. Can you kind of speak to that and what that, you know, was that intentional to kind of allude to the society that we're in today?
I think that, you know, whether or not it's kind of like which came, it's a chicken or the egg, right? It's like, where did the idea come from? And it's like, did that concept come because we were feeling it and it was like kind of in the water and everybody's kind of feeling it right now? Or is it something that we came up with and we just happened to get it so that it was a bit more prophetic than we realized? And I don't know the answer to that question, but I think that what's definitely eerie in this game and working on this game is, you know, about 3 years ago, just having that feeling like society, and I'm not talking about the States, I'm talking about the globe. We're all kind of heading towards a tipping point, and then taking that angst and putting it into the father, and then having him basically say, you know, humanity has been on the ledge many, many times. And the fact that we've managed to pull back, or the fact that we've managed to be able to navigate it, and then we've gotten kind of away with not realizing how close we were, means that we've been desensitized to it. And we thought it was really interesting to have a character that believed that this time that would not be the case. And they believe it, which makes the character much more in-depth, which makes the character much more of a zealot, and somebody who doesn't believe they're the bad guy. That's something that when players realize that they're going into this compound and they're going to try and talk to this person and rationalize things and that it may not work, it just creates an environment that we think that players are really going to love.
Okay, so speaking of the father and the depth of that character specifically, do you guys have any plans to kind of go into his backstory? I think it would be really interesting to kind of learn what made him who he was and his entire family, really.
So we wrote an in-depth 15-year backstory for the whole family, for the cult, for everything that was going on in Hope County. And what you do is if you go around the world, there's sedimentary layers of narrative in the space. So if you go and you read a note, or you meet a person, or if you have a guns for hire, sometimes you're just driving in a car and you got two guns for hire that know each other, and they're going to tell you a little bit of that information. They're not going to have all of it, but they're all going to be pulling from the same well. And so whether it's a note that you find, or a prepper stash, or a situation that you run into, or something that somebody says in a mission or in a side mission, or that a guns for hire has, or a premier guns for hire has, or even somebody just reacting to one of your fangs for hire and talking about it, there'll always be a little kernel of information about the cult and about the world to make it feel credible.
Okay, I want to switch gears a little bit, because Ubisoft has always done an amazing job with backstories and specifically history. You guys also announced the DLC. I gotta talk about that. You guys took us to the 80s with Blood Dragon. You took us to the prehistoric era with Primal. Was Mars just like the next logical step?
It's funny because we just wanted to be able to make it so that when you build a game and you're working on Far Cry 5 and you're working on moments that are earnest and you say to yourself, how do you make something that would be born of this world, right? So you take maybe a character, and that character, has a belief about something, and maybe they're a bit of a conspiracy theorist. And then you kind of take that and you explode it and go, what this person would believe and how fun it would be to play that whole experience. And you end up with Mars, or somebody's history and being able to take you to Vietnam, or even just the whole concept of like in a zombie apocalypse. That's where that comes from, so that it really feels like it's born from the world that we built.
Yes, awesome. Okay, last question. Arcade. Gotta talk about that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because sitting in the briefing and seeing it, it was like, holy crap, this is real.
Well, I think that, in the past, we've had the in-game editor, but it's always felt like it's maybe a little bit off to the side, and we're like, screw that, put it in the game. Make sure you can walk up to an arcade, you can play it, you can jump in, and then people are going to want to play beyond Far Cry. They're going to want to be able to step in and build their maps, take all the stuff that they've done, and then also maybe they want to grab stuff from AC or from Watch Dogs and just go and build an experience that other people can play. We want to give them all the tools, and I think that the truth is right now is that we're watching as players are really becoming devs, and we have to grow up and start to be able to give them the tools and not think that we have to give them the prescription of a very specific narrative or this is how you have to play the game. Give them the tools to play it and actually build it and become devs themselves.
That is awesome. It's so exciting to see the map editor back. Man, it's so great. Well, Dan, thank you so much for your time. I've had an amazing experience playing the game so far. Guys, be sure to pick up Far Cry 5 and definitely keep it locked to our YouTube channel to see more of our coverage of Far Cry 5. Again, this is Charles Pars with the Game Fanatics. Until next time, keep calm and game on. That was my chat with Far Cry 5's creative director, Dan Hay. Far Cry 5 hits shelves March 27th, and you best believe, if I haven't said it enough, we are really excited for this game. We're continuing our coverage with more interviews, more gameplay, more hands-on, right here on our YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe, drop us a like and a comment, tell us what you think, check out thegamefanatics.com for written content, and I'll see you in the next video. But until then, keep calm and game on.